Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be talking about Ansu Fati's latest injury and when he is expected to come back to return and play with Barcelona. Then we are going to be talking about Pique and Sergi Roberto's return after this international break, and then lastly we are going to be talking about who is the new director of football, who is named Mateu Alemany. So there is plenty that we do need to discuss. I have been asked multiple times on what is Ansu Fati's latest news. They do want me to talk about Ansu Fati in almost every 2 or 3 videos, which does make sense because there's always brand new details regarding Ansu Fati at the moment. And so now we are here and we are going to be talking about this player first within the video. So it has been said time and time again that Ansu Fati's knee is not recovering. It has been completely stagnant. There has been no improvement on Ansu Fati's knee. And within these next few days and hours, Ansu Fati does have a very big decision to make along with his doctors. And so he does have 2 choices right now. One is that because Ansu Fati's recovery is stagnant and he is not improving, many doctors have suggested towards a player that there needs to be another surgery, that he needs to redo the surgery, which is going to be considered as the second surgery, and to remove part of the meniscus. And there has been many sources claiming that if Ansu Fati's meniscus is going to be partially removed, that will certainly not be good news for Ansu Fati, because as a player you do need the full meniscus. And so if he does a surgery within the next 14 to 15 days, that would ultimately mean that he's going to be missing the rest of this season. And then he has the second option, which is to not go with the surgery and continue to allow the knee to recover as it should be for the next 14 days. Now look, I am not a doctor, right? I do not know all the information on what could happen to Ansu Fati if he takes a certain route. But historically, it has always been said in the world of football that once a player does deny a surgery, nothing good ever comes out of it. And that is why it is highly suggested that Ansu Fati should be going for this surgery, because the last thing that he does want to do is to end up like a player like Samuel Umtiti, who has been one of the most greatest examples on what could happen if you do not take what you do need to take. And so a decision is going to have to be made at the end of the day, and that is probably what we are going to be hearing within the next 4 to 5 days is going to be his decision. And it says here, according to Alex Pintanel, Laporta has met with Ansu Fati earlier today, this morning, and the new president did transfer all of his support towards the player. It has also been said, coming from Javi Miguel, and I quote, Laporta had ensured Ansu Fati earlier today that the club will be made available to him regarding any decision that he does take. The president has also made it extremely clear that Ansu Fati's continuity with Barcelona is 100% assured, which basically means this. Laporta was telling Ansu Fati and saying that, look, we see that you do have a problem. We see that you have a choice to make that might dictate what your future is going to look like for the next few years. But we do still want you here at the end of the day. We know that these type of problems completely change the course of your career, but we do still value you and you're still a very important player towards us. You have our full support. And it makes sense that Laporta has done that towards Ansu Fati, because when you are a young player and you are 18 years old and you know that you are in a position where you have to make a decision that may or may not harm you in the next few years, your confidence is going to be low at that very second. And I'm glad to see that Laporta is experienced enough to come out to these players and give them the full support, because he knows exactly how these players do feel. Laporta has been through this many times throughout the course of his era with FC Barcelona between the years of 2003 and 2010. And I am going to be betting on that Ansu Fati does go for the second surgery and that there is going to be a big possibility that he will miss the rest of this season. What does that mean? What does it mean with Ansu Fati now being absent for the rest of this season? It means that Barcelona and Ronald Koeman are going to have to move forward with the players that they currently do have. So if Ansu Fati is not going to be taking part of this season, this is how I believe Koeman should line up his players. If it comes to a 3-4-3, I think that the front three should be Antoine Griezmann on the left, Messi in the center, and Dembele on the right. And they can always switch roles. Dembele can go into the middle, Messi can go into the right, maybe Griezmann can also go into the middle, and Messi go onto the right wing, and Dembele going onto the left wing. It's very flexible. Now, if Koeman goes for a 3-5-2, I do believe that the front two should be no other than Lionel Messi and Dembele. This is a front two that does work. This is a front two that can produce results. And even if Ansu Fati is not going to be made available in this season, these 2 options that we have just made here are strong enough to get good results at the end of the season. And then moving on towards the next topic of today, and we are going to be talking about Pique and Sergi Roberto. We do have some great news coming from these 2 players, and it says here, according to Javi Miguel, that Pique is scheduled to resume training with the group from sometime next week. As for Sergi Roberto, everything does indicate that he will be receiving the green light to participate against Valladolid on April 5th. So this is great news, and especially when we do hear that Gerard Piqué is going to be coming back, because right now, after seeing the past few games under Ronald Koeman before the international break, Ronald Koeman has made it very clear that he does need a center back that's very great on the ball. And one of those players that Koeman is asking for in this season is for the return of Gerard Piqué. If Barcelona want to pull off a domestic double in this season, Barcelona cannot continue to be harmed by not having Gerard Piqué, because Piqué is one of the most important players for Barcelona. Is he the most important player for this club? He's not, but he is a great missing piece that Barcelona does need. And that is going to be the conversation that we are going to be having. How is Barcelona going to line up defensively now that we do have the return of Gerard Piqué? I do believe that Ronald Koeman is going to continue with the 3-5-2. So as for the three center backs within that defensive line, we should expect to see Mingueza as the right center back, Gerard Piqué as the center back, and Ronald Araujo as the left center back. If these three players start within that defensive line, you will be getting the best of both worlds, because if we talk about the two players who are physically demanding and are able to backtrack against any opposition and put themselves in a 1v1, it would be Mingueza and Ronald Araujo. And Araujo, when it comes to a 1v1, has made it very clear that he can be very dominant throughout this season. As for Mingueza, he has also proven that he can backtrack and be in a 1v1. He has greatly shown that in that second leg match against PSG when he was facing Kylian Mbappe. So those are going to be the two things that one player does not have, and that is going to be Gerard Piqué, because Piqué is a player that actually knows how to retain the ball. Out of all of these three players that we have just mentioned, Gerard Piqué is the player that can be the ball distributor and command how Mingueza and Araujo should be positioned. So this defensive line of Mingueza, Araujo, and Gerard Piqué does produce the best of both worlds. And then when we talk about Sergi Roberto, this is going to be a very different case, because if Sergi Roberto does come back, many are assuming that he could be playing in Serginho Dest's position. But I do see Sergi Roberto playing as a right center back and going in for Mingueza at times, maybe coming in the 60th minute or maybe in the 50th minute, because if Sergi Roberto is placed within Serginho Dest's position, the role is going to be completely different, because the only reason why Serginho Dest is playing so well in that position is because he does have the stamina and the ability to take off as quick as possible when Barcelona do need to transition defensively. And so it does require a lot from you when you are playing as a right winger in a 3-5-2 formation. Sergi Roberto playing in that position does not have what it takes to be on the other side of the pitch extremely quickly. Does that make Sergi Roberto a bad player? No, it doesn't. It just means that players such as Serginho Dest or like a Trent from Liverpool, or maybe even a player like Dani Alves in his prime, the physical nature of these players is what allows them to play extremely well on the right wing. It's very physically demanding. And so the final conclusion is that Sergi Roberto should be playing as a right center back and going in for Mingueza. And now moving on towards the last topic of today, and we are going to be talking about Mateu Alemany. So according to Partidazo Cope, it has been said that Mateu Alemany is the new director of Barcelona as of today and is working closely with the club. So with Mateu Alemany being named as the director of football, does that mean that he's going to be making sporting decisions? And here's the thing that I do want to make clear. Mateu Alemany is not going to be the one that's going to be taking charge of what player needs to come to Barcelona. That's not going to be his role. What he is going to be in charge of is to have a say on what transfers do make financial sense for FC Barcelona. So let's just say, for example, if Haaland cost 117 million euros and Lautaro Martinez cost 120 million euros, he's going to be saying these two transfers do not make any financial sense for us to execute in this summer. But if we were to bet on one player, if it was either Lautaro Martinez or Erling Haaland, it would be Erling Haaland. And then according to Santiago Valle, he has stated in a quote, Mateu Alemany is meeting regularly with Ramon Planes to plan for next season, which will be the 2021-2022 season. And they will be meeting again today. And at the moment, Alemany is working alongside Ramon Planes. So many reports have stated that Laporta is satisfied with Ramon Planes, but it has not been made official yet that he will be continuing with FC Barcelona. But at the moment, Laporta has no reason to let go of Ramon Planes as the sporting director of FC Barcelona. Now, there is this other question. What about Jordi Cruyff? It has been said many times that Jordi Cruyff was supposed to become the technical director of FC Barcelona. So at the moment, we are still within that phase where Jordi Cruyff is working in his other position and trying to look for a contract termination so he can now be freed and allowed to work with FC Barcelona. And if Jordi Cruyff does make that full transfer towards FC Barcelona, there might be a potential partnership between Ramon Planes and Jordi Cruyff. Now, that is where everything is going to lead towards the club, and they're going to have to decide what roles Ramon Planes and Jordi Cruyff are going to be making, because these are two people that are looking to take the exact same position. But it could work out at the end of the day if they do form a great partnership. Again, this is where the club has to to internally decide to see what are the strengths of Ramon Planes and the strengths of Jordi Cruyff. But in the end, it is considered as good news. If these two people do work within the club, that is going to greatly bring many great results for FC Barcelona moving forward. But that's going to be it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.